Hey guys, just popping in early here. So if you can hear me, let me know. Just gonna get some things sorted out before we get started. Just wanted to make sure I don't have a big mess like last time. So looks like everything's working. Can you guys hear me okay? Somebody could just let me know, that'd be great. It's always the concern. Okay, thanks Leslie, appreciate it. All right, fantastic. All right, good deal. Okay, so no snafus like last time. Goodness, last time that stressed me out so bad, starting off so rough. If any of you were here last time, you know, it took me like 10 minutes to get going. So anyway, I'm just gonna get a few more things kind of just sorted out here, but yeah, happy to have you guys here. I'd love to know, like, yes, it is freezing cold here. I don't know how your weather is, but we're like air temperature is like 3 degrees. So needless to say, Ziva is not getting a walk today, which she's not very happy about that, but it is a little too cold for me today. Yeah. Yeah, is anybody, oh, hey, Kath. Yes, Kay Andrews. Am I ready for the holidays? I am kind of. I pretty much almost actually have most of my Christmas presents done, and yeah, I just need to wrap them, and yeah, then I need to finish cards and get them sorted and mailed, but yeah. Will I be making any more cards, the latest stamp and die release from 49 and Market? No, probably not for this year, but thanks for asking, Jennifer. Those stamps are amazing, absolutely amazing. I did some earlier in the season. I'm not sure the dates and all that, but if you haven't seen those, you might want to check those out. But yeah, great release. And looking forward to seeing what's coming in 2025. 57 in Texas. Okay. That would be nice right now. I would take that. For sure. For sure. You know, Jennifer, there are projects out there. It's just a little bit challenging to find them. I know I've seen several of the Sizzix design team members create projects with them. I don't know that they did any videos, but I know I saw them on Instagram for sure. And I know a lot of the 49 and Market design team use them as well, but a lot of them are scrapbookers. So the stamps are not in a bad way, but they're a little bit hidden because you know, you're on a scrapbook page and they're also using all the other gorgeous embellishments and that stuff from 49 and Market. So yeah, they're a little challenge to find them in there, but yeah, they're fantastic. Snow in December and January, yes. And if it's going to be cold, I don't know if you all feel this way, but when it's going to be cold, I want snow. I don't want it just cold for no reason. And we have barely a dusting of snow where I am here. I was really kind of hoping we might get some of that snow that came through. That's north of us. They have a lot of snow north of us, but not here. So 22 degrees and blizzard conditions in PA. You must be north of me, or at least not in the Pittsburgh area, Kimberly, because we are not getting any snow here at all. Yeah, depending on where you were, you got lots and lots of snow, for sure. All right, seeing everybody popping in. Looks like we're doing pretty good here. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone. I'm really happy to have you guys here. It looks like we've got a spattering of people from all over. And I also saw Kath. She's one of my fellow makers on the Tim Holtz maker team, and she's in Scotland, I think. Yeah, so it's a little bit later in the day for her, but glad to have her joining us, at least popping in anyway. So, all right. Well, are you guys ready to get started and get going? Feel free, of course, as always, like to make along with me if you happen to look at the supplies I was working with and you want to do something similar-ish. You can also just watch and jibber jabber with each other in the comments and stuff, or work on something else that you've got working that you want to work on for sure. So yeah, a couple other things. I should have made a list of things to make sure. If you saw my email that went out today, I know not everybody's into the classes and stuff like that, but I did want to make sure that you check that out if you're interested in doing some card making. That's a little more, not quite all the mixed media style, but my friend Mary Polanco's absolutely, I love her to death. She's an amazing person. She's having like a Christmas card extravaganza this Saturday that she's doing as an all-day class, and there's going to be like 4 cards that she's going to make at different times throughout the day, and then she is going to provide you though with like instructions for like a total of 9 cards. So, and she always has tons of like extra things that she adds in there with the class. So and then she does amazing giveaways and all that kind of stuff too. So if you saw the email, check it. If you didn't see it, check it and check it out and see if that's something you might be interested in. So just thought I'd throw that out there. And yeah, all right. Let's see. And then I guess, yeah, you are welcome, Susie. Now, if you guys have any questions, always feel free to reach out to me. If you're not comfortable leaving a comment, you can always email me. My email address is, if you get my newsletter, you can contact me straight through that. So, private message me on Instagram. I'm not great on Facebook messaging. Sometimes I don't see that one quite as soon, but yeah, please feel free to reach out if you've got questions or post them in the comments. And thank you, Kay. Yes. I am the worst at, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button. I'm like the worst at that. But yeah, if you guys would hit the like button for sure, that always helps me out a ton. For other people that like don't make it for the live or don't see that it's going to be there, it will more likely pop it up in their feed as an option of something that they might be interested in watching because somebody else liked it. So yeah, that would be great. Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that's what I try to do, a combination of things. I've been working on a new class for next year that's going to be focused on different ways to use your embossing folders to like with mixed media techniques. And yeah, so it's been kind of fun putting that together. I put together a bunch of different ways that you can use embossing folders, and I came up with well over 20 ways of, from real simple to pretty complex. And the feedback I got in my last class is that I had too many techniques, so I've decided that for this next one that's going to be in January, I don't have a date just yet, but I'll share all that as soon as I have it. That will be 4 techniques, and then I'll share some other bonus ones kind of like in a handout and stuff. But yeah, so I have that to look forward to coming up. And yeah, so I'd like to have a little bit of stuff that's more class oriented and more information in the classes than what I do on a live. But yeah, so it's just options for everybody, because I know not everyone can do the classes, and so the lives are nice for that as well. So yeah, yeah, I love embossing folders, definitely, yeah, but I love all the things, so I'm not sure if I could pick one thing, or maybe, I don't know. I don't think I can pick one thing, but all right, guys. Well, I'm going to switch the camera over and I'm going to get started on my card. More is always better. Yes, it is. All right. So can everyone see my project over here? Tina, you have 80 embossing folders. I would say you're a little obsessed. I don't think I can reach to compete with you on that for sure. That's awesome. All right, thank you, Mrs. Willis. So Wills or Wills? Mrs. Wills? I'll go with that. Yeah, some of you guys have cute little screen names, but I don't know. Yeah. So, all right. So if you saw a little peek of this in my newsletter, but this is the card that I'm going to be putting together today with you guys. And kind of as with last time, I am not going to assemble the full card here in the video because it does get a little fussy adhering all these little tiny die cuts, but I am going to walk you through how I did all of it, how I created everything, and all the mediums that I used to get the different effects on them. And yeah, whether this is, something that you would actually want to do for a Christmas card, because this is a little time consuming, but they're fun techniques that you can use any time of the year. And it's with these kind of cards that do take a little bit more time. Like this is something that I would give to someone that's a little more special, my mom or my husband or a friend of mine that, does this kind of crafting and would appreciate it. So, so that said, you could certainly skip all the mixed media stuff and it would go together much faster, but there, what's the fun in that, right? So, all right, so I'm gonna sit that to the side, and what I'm gonna start with, I did all my die cutting off camera, and I used a variety of die cuts for like the greenery, and I would just, kind of go through what you have and see, like, these are some different ones that I had from my stash, and, we all probably have tons of dies that we can use that are similar. So, these are just a few options. And then I've got this Darling Deer die set that I used. Again, you don't have to be using the Tim Holtz dies. You may have other dies that are similar because there's lots of companies that have, beautiful winter greenery and deer dies. So those are some options for you there. And with the these tree rings, this is an older die, and back when Tim was doing the Bigz dies, and they had like the coordinating embossing folder, so you would cut it out and then you would stick the paper in the embossing folder and get that embossed pattern in there, which is super, super cool. And feel lucky to have these in my stash. Maybe you have them, or maybe you have another brand of something that's similar-ish, but it also there's a bigger one that he came out with as well. But if you don't have those and you want something kind of similar, there's also the wood, I can't remember the name of this one, but that's just an embossing folder that has like the circular pattern in it, and you could just cut this out with your scissors and like a jaggedy, and kind of create your own little jaggedy edge around it and get something similar. And then there's also this die set that kind of has that tree wood grain kind of pattern thing too with it. So just, some options if you want a similar type look and you don't have these particular dies that I'm using. So just thought I'd throw some suggestions out there. So, all right. So I think I'm going to start with these first, because we're going to have to these are going to have to dry a little bit before we can completely finish them. So first off, now I've got they're die cut and embossed, and I'm just going to take the walnut stain ink pad and just rub it over the surface to get that ink kind of onto the raised areas. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and I don't care if it's getting on the edge of the paper, you know, around this outer edge here, because I'm going to add some ink to that too to make that darker. And I'm going to do the same thing with both of these. I used to have some great Bigz dyes. Oh, I'm so sorry you lost that. That's, oh, I hate to hear that. I'm so sorry. So now I'm just going to take that same ink and just ink around the edges here. And I'm just using a little blending tool here to put that ink on. And you know, if you wanted this even darker, you could use the, you know, ground espresso, or if you want to use oxide inks, you could use the oxide inks. Doesn't really matter. I tend to prefer the distress inks. That's just personal preference for me. I don't use the oxides as much unless I'm doing the stamp and smudge, which some of you probably know is definitely a favorite technique of mine. So I want to know, what's everybody working on while I'm crafting? Are you working with me, or are you doing your own thing? I think my ink pad needs more juice. Okay. I feel like I keep bumping my microphone. Alrighty. Okay, so this, we've got all the inking on there, and then I'm just going to dry this real quick because the next step we're going to use some embossing glaze, and I don't want it sticking where I don't want it sticking. So I'm just going to dry this real quick because the distress ink does take a few minutes to dry. Hey, Lucia. Taking notes. Leslie, you said you're taking notes and organizing your craft room. Oh, that's a fantastic idea. Go ahead. You have a cat in your lap. Aw, so cute. Love it. Kath, you're cooking supper. What are you making for supper? Maybe I need to come over. I don't know what I'm going to have tonight yet. Figure that out. So, see, I'm working on a booklet with 19 pages for 19 of us to sign as a thank you to a friend. Oh, that sounds interesting, Wendy. Really cool. Debbie's working on Christmas cards. You told yourself to make back in July. Yeah, we all have the best intentions, don't we? But life happens, and yeah, we just have to do the best that we can. All right, now for this next technique, you can use regular grit paste or the Snowfall grit paste, either one. I used the translucent, the Snowfall grit paste on the original sample, and because it's translucent, the ink on the die cuts, because these are cut from from inked paper, and this has ink on it, and it, you know, this part it won't matter so much, but it will when we do the next step with this. So I think for this one I'm just going to use the regular grit paste, but you could use any of them if you like. And you know, you can use you know, a little craft knife to put it on. I sometimes just kind of prefer going on with my fingers. And I'm just, you know, kind of putting just a little edging of it around the edge of the die cut here. And the reason I'm doing this instead of just putting ink is it gives it a little bit of texture, and kind of looking to make it look like kind of a piece of cut wood, like a tree, you know, a slice, like those wood slices you can buy, and have a little texture around the edge there. And obviously, you know, if this like doing this with your fingers, your skin can't handle this sort of thing. Make sure you put some gloves on. I probably should do that more often than I do, but I usually just stick my finger in there and then realize, oh no, but it's all good. And then while this is wet, I'm going to take just a scrap piece of paper here. And I'm going to pour I've just got the Scorched timber embossing glaze, and I'm just going to pour that onto that paste. And then it's going to stick to the paste. As long as it's still wet. Now if it's already dried, this won't work. And I'm just going to set that to the side to dry. Do the same thing with this one. And you'll see like the powder's still like stuck even though I dried that. So but by the time these are dry enough to do what we're going to do next with them, it should kind of blow off of that ink. All right, so I'm just going to set those over. And what we're going to do is just let that paste dry. Make sure you get enough on there. And then once the paste is dry, or at least mostly dry, we'll do the next step. I'm just going to get this cleaned up here. Yeah, grit paste. I know. Some of the paste I go through really like fast. Spaghetti and meatballs, Kathy. I am jumping all over the place looking at comments. My brain's like, oh, somebody's working on Christmas cards. All right. Kathy may have inspired me to have some pasta for dinner tonight. That sounds good. Okay. Now, so these other die cuts, I'm going to work on them as well. And these, the deer, I did the same thing where I took the distressed watercolor cardstock and I sprayed it with the spray stain, and then added a little bit of water and then dried it and then used that for die cutting. And I always like to write the name of the color I'm using on the back just to help me remember. And especially if I do, sometimes if you wanted to mix colors, then you kind of know like, oh, I did peeled paint and forest moss together or whatever. But if you're interested in how I did this, I showed that in my last live video. So I'm not going to go through that this time, but it's just a quick way to color your cardstock. And if you like the Distress palette, it's a great way to, have everything all color coordinated and using the colors that, at least for me, these are the colors I use all the time. I use the Distress colors, and so I know what those colors are and how they look together. And yeah, so this is definitely my preference, but you could also use colored cardstock to cut these out, and that certainly would save a lot of time. So the deer, these are gathered twigs is the color I used there, and then I also used some forest moss, and this one's peeled paint. And this one is Bundled Sage. So, and it's all the distressed spray stains, but you could use the oxide sprays too. It'll give you just a slightly different look, of course, but still that, you know, kind of mixed media look with things. And so now with these, what I want to do is, I kind of got sidetracked earlier thinking about one thing ahead of myself, but the grit, kind of going back to that grit paste again, the Snowfall grit paste I find really seems like if you put it over inked paper, it tends to start kind of, the color comes through it. So the paste, as you, I don't know if you can see it in this or not, if it'll focus or not, but it's not white, it's kind of green, and which is fine with snow because you know, if it kind of gets melty and icy, it's not going to be white, but I did kind of want it a little more white. So I thought this time, instead of using the Snowfall grit paste, I would just use the regular grit paste on these pieces as well. And I'm just going to kind of tap it onto the edges of the branches to kind of give it the look of snow. And again, if you are doing this, and you know, you could seal it, I guess, you know, if you wanted to go through the process of sealing the die cuts with like a spray sealant, or I think like the Distress, the Glaze that he has, I can't think of the name of it, I'm blanking on it because I don't use it very often. But there is a, but it changes the look of it too. So I don't know. I usually just go with what happens, knowing that it's, most of the paste do tend to kind of absorb any ink that is underneath them. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. Oh, you know what though? While this is still wet, because this one dries, this does kind of dry quick, I'm going to spray this with my glitter duster, and this has just got some of the rock candy glitter in it. I'm going to do this over my trash can though, so I'll show you what it looks like when I finish it. But and then, I don't know if you can see the glitter in person here yet. Usually once it dries, you can kind of see it a little bit better, but the glitter sticks to the paste. So I'm just gonna continue with that. And so far, this looks like it's staying more white than the Snowfall paste did. So something to consider. And if you don't have the grit paste, or this brand, there's other brands out there of kind of a paste that has like a texture in it. So I can also see like the green is starting to get a little bit onto my spatula there. So if you see any green getting on your spatula, you might want to just be careful about sticking it back in the jar so you don't get it contaminated. All right, I'm gonna stop with this and see what you guys are saying. All right. Yes, Debbie, you're asking about the grit paste drying up. Any of the pastes will dry up if you open them and let them sit for months and months and don't use them. They're going to dry up. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. So I do try to, like this one's got some of the press and seal in it because I don't use this one as much. This one I opened recently and I've been using it quite a bit. So I haven't been too worried about it getting dried up. But yeah, if you've got it and you're not using it, you need to start using it, or yeah, you're kind of wasting your money because it will dry up on you. But the, you know, like press and seal or some kind of like plastic wrap or cling wrap, there's a bunch of different brands of stuff that you can get, and just cut a piece of that and smush it down. I'll just kind of show you here. Tim kind of shared this whole idea, is you really push it down in there and try to get all the air out. So you're going to waste a little bit of your paste because it's going to get stuck on the saran wrap, but I think that's better than it drying up and losing the whole jar. So that's kind of my thought on that. Yeah, Kath, I'm with you. The grit paste doesn't seem to suck the color up as much as some of the other ones. It's a little, yeah, the texture paste for sure. Like it will definitely, as soon as you touch it to anything that's inked, it turns the color for sure. White. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I love the texture too, Kay. Could you gesso the cardstock before you cut it? You could, but I don't think that would solve the problem with the paste, because the gesso's going to be underneath. I guess you could maybe try a clear gesso over the top of the inked cardstock, if that's what you mean. But again, like it gets tricky when you're trying to seal distress inks because they're water reactive, and most mediums have some liquid in them that's like, even if it's just a tiny bit, there's some water in there and it will reactivate the ink. So it might seal it, but I don't know that it would. It might, I don't know. You'd have to try it and see. I've never tried it. I have never tried it, but it's an interesting idea. Let's see here. Grit paste. I love the grit paste. Yes, Jennifer, you do need to get some of the rock candy glitter. That is so beautiful. And I would really recommend the glitter duster, because you can just get a light dusting of glitter, not like a ton of coverage, which makes it just really pretty. Yeah, Martha. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Yeah, try. Okay, so you do the grit paste after the gesso dried. Yeah, be worth trying for sure. Yes. Oh, and yeah, Tim has been doing the wide rubber bands lately. I happened to come across that. I forgot about it though. But yeah, so if anybody else has tried that, I'd be curious how that's been working for you. I thought I saw somebody else had a question here. Okay, Tracy is asking, is the cloud paste the same as grit paste? No, the cloud paste is similar to texture paste. The grit paste actually has like little granules of grit in it, like almost like sand, so it gives it a more kind of bumpy, gritty texture, and that you don't get with like just regular texture paste. So it's just slightly different, but they both are great things for adding, you know, some texture to your projects. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some little berries to this die cut, and there's a couple ways you can do it. In the past, I've used like pops of color or like the Nuvo drops or something like that. This is just like a red glitter that you can use, but I didn't want to wait for this to dry, so I thought, oh, let's try embossing with some aged mahogany embossing glaze. So this is just a little, this is the Ranger embossing pen. This is like a marker basically that's got embossing ink in it, and then that kind of is helpful to just get ink on just those little berries, because if you tried to tap an ink pad on here, you would get ink everywhere. So I just want it on where the berries are. And then I can take the embossing glaze and put that on there. And then if you get somewhere you don't want it, you just kind of wipe it off a little bit. And then we use my heat gun to emboss this. But let's move this stuff out of the way first. That's the spot. All right, there we go. So, so yeah, so you can see that just adds a little bit of shimmer and kind of gives you that look of the berries. But, you know, if you don't have the embossing glaze and you just have like regular red embossing powder, use that. The embossing glaze is just translucent, so you might not be able to see it here on the camera, but in person I can tell that I've put red over green because the berries have a little bit more of a kind of greenish brownish tint to that color, and that's just because I've put it over something that was already inked. But I think it gives it a nice little vintage feel, so I really like how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other one here. And then at least I have all my pieces ready to put together, because all of these cards I make in my videos, at least I try to give them to someone. So this will be one of my Christmas cards that gets sent out or given to someone. But I need to get on to sending. That is, let's see here, little brush. It's not the best brush for this, but that'll work. There we go. So there is the second one. And I missed a little spot there. There we go. Let me reading through here. Blue rubber bands from broccoli. Yes, Wendy, that is so good. Yeah, I need to try. I need to get some. I don't know if our broccoli rubber bands are wide enough or not, but I will have to give that a try, because I'll be super honest. The whole plastic wrap in there thing is very messy, and I always feel like I'm wasting some of the paste, as I mentioned to you there. So outer circle on top of the container. Oh, good question, Jennifer. So what I did is I took just a piece of white cardstock, and you could use a circle punch or a circle die, and I just cut out the paper, and then I took my embossing ink pad and just covered the paper circle with the ink, and then poured the embossing powder on it, and then heat set it, and then that just gives me a little swatch to put on my jars. And then I used I think I used Fabri-Tac to get the thing to stick to the lids. So yeah, that's what that is. Sorry, Pam, but yes, watch the replay. It will be there. It will be there for you. Sorry you have to work, but I know how that is too. So, Tracy, you were wanting to know. I did answer your question. Okay, fantastic. All right, Wendy, you need to try the glazes. They are so pretty. I love them. And just remember that you can see through them. So, like, I love stamping something like on a background and then doing some of the embossing glaze over the top of it, and then you don't lose that, or you can do it over pattern paper, and yeah, lots of cool things. So if you don't, another option too, like if you don't have the embossing glaze, you could use, and you don't have any like the Nuvo drops or the pops of color, you could also use glossy accents and create little berries and add like red glitter. If you had red glitter, pour that over it, and that would give you some little berries as well. So just some ideas on just kind of dressing up your die cuts a little bit. And I'm going to see where we are with our paste and stuff here. I think this is getting dry. Yeah, that powder, embossing powder, really stuck. I think I needed to dry longer than I did. But so if that happens, if you are trying this tree ring technique here with me, just grab a little brush and go back in and wipe off that excess powder. You can see how much I'm wiping off there. Do that same thing on this little one here. Yeah, I think I did see the bands on are available for through Ranger. Which, yeah, if you can get them free on your broccoli, why not use that instead? But at least it's available for people if they don't eat broccoli. Oh, that's a great idea, Wendy, with the rubber bands. And I mean, I knew that was an option, but I hadn't thought about that. So that's a great idea, to use the rubber bands to help like open tight lids and jars, because it gives you some grip. It's a fantastic idea. All right, so I think seems mostly dry. So I'm going to take my heat embossing tool again, and I'm going to heat that embossing glaze and the paste. And you know, the biggest thing with this, it's going to bubble a little bit with the paste, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast, because you're, you know, heating something that's not necessarily made to be heated, but the end result's pretty cool looking. So here we go. I've already realized I made a mistake. All right, guys, I just realized you can see the white edges. See that? That's because I used opaque grit paste. I was supposed to use translucent grit paste, which gives you that effect. So if you want it to look like this, which is what I was going for, you want to use translucent grit paste. That's where I was getting myself confused earlier, because the Snowfall is translucent. So there's multiple different grit paste, but this is the Snowfall grit paste. It's translucent. There's the opaque, and then there's also regular translucent grit paste. Where'd you go? Here. This is what I should have used. An alcohol marker will fix that. That is a fantastic idea, Martha. I will maybe have to try that. Because yeah, that being able to see that white edging on there, that is not at all what I was going for. So, but while we're here, I may as well go ahead and heat set this one here and have it finished. just one more thing of when you go live, things happen. Because if I was recording a video, I would have caught this and I would have had to redone all of this in the video. So it would be perfect for you guys. So a little behind the story of what happens when you're going live versus being able to record it and make it all perfect for you guys. So so yeah, you want to use the translucent grit paste on the tree rings with your embossing glaze. So not the opaque. And I don't have easy access to my alcohol markers, but I may dig through and try to find them and see if that little trick works, Martha. So thank you for suggesting that, for sure. And yes, as Tim says, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And that's exactly where you just gotta roll with it sometimes. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't look horrible. It's just not the look I was going for and what I wanted to share with you guys. So, but yeah, but I'm still going to use these. I'm not going to throw them out and do it over. So I'll make it work for sure. Okay. Still perfect. Yes. Just options. Definitely. Yes. Thank you, Jennifer. Yep. No need to hide mistakes. I know. I think that distress crayons might work. It would just be a little messier, maybe. Paint, maybe some distress paint would work. That might be an even easier thing. I don't know. A couple options there we've got. I love the collective problem solving we got going on here. It's awesome. Yes. Yeah, I do try to share them every now and then. This is during my lives. Obviously, you're going to see them happening for sure, because they happen quite a bit when I'm making my videos and have to redo something. All right, so next I thought it would be fun to see which background you all want to see me make. They're all using the same technique, just different stamp. And so this is the stamp that I used on the card example. And then there's also this kind of music note one and the polka dots. So does anybody have any preferences on which one I should make? The far right. Kay says. Anybody else have any thoughts? So cool. I know, I thought they all turned out really fun. I had fun making them this. I actually made even more of them than these. Somebody wants the music notes. Ooh, polka dots, please. All right. I think I'm seeing more requests for the middle one. So let's do that one. Yeah, let's do that one. So like I said, they all use the exact same technique. They're just different stamp sets. So like this music note one is off this music and advert stamp set. And you could do this technique with any background stamps. So that the one I used, this one is off the Plaid and Nordic stamp set. This is also another favorite of mine. I love the stripes and holiday one. And then this is the polka dot one. So yeah. Some options there. I know, and yeah, that stripe and holiday type one, that is definitely a favorite of mine for sure. All right, so for this technique, what I like to use is distressed watercolor paper. And I'm working in my stamping platform. You don't have to use a stamping platform. I just find it really helpful for this technique. And then I like to use this dotted adhesive runner from scrapbook.com. And I put some So this is just a piece of black cardstock that I keep in my stamping platform, and that just protects the base here, and you know, from I don't have to clean up so much ink. And then I just put a little bit of that adhesive there in the center, and then I can use that to kind of help hold my paper in place, because some of these stamps, you know, they're background stamps, so they cover up a lot of the paper, so it's kind of hard to get your magnets on there. So you can get a little bit of the bar magnet on there, but you know, I can scoot it over here a little bit like that, and but that, you know, this kind of just helps hold it in place there. Oh, let's get the stamp right side up. There we go. And then I'm going to kind of do like kind of a watercolor effect. And I've got lumberjack plaid and aged mahogany. And I'm going to need my distress sprayer. And I'm going to just kind of stamp over the whole thing with the lumberjack plaid. And then I'm going to take the aged mahogany and just kind of tap it down here and there. I'm kind of putting like the corner of it down on the stamp, not the whole thing. This is one time where I wish maybe I had the little small mini distress inks, but I don't have them, so make and do. So if you have them, pull them out. This is a great way to do this. So now I'm going to got the ink on there. Now I'm going to spritz this with my distress sprayer and just really kind of get that ink activated and moving. And then just going to stamp it down over here. And voila! So you get this really cool kind of watercolory effect. Now, if you want it more watercolory, spritz your stamp or the paper again, either way. So like, you know, like maybe you want a little more water in that area, you could just spritz that again, stamp back over, and it will get that flowing. If you get it too runny before you take it out, you can dry this, and you can dry it in your platform. It won't hurt it to just give it a quick dry in there, and then you can re-ink, like dry your stamp off, re-ink it, and then stamp again, and that will like kind of crisp it up a little bit if you feel like it's too runny. But yeah, so you can just kind of play around with that until you're happy with how you like, you know, the effect you get there. And then once you're happy with it, then you can take it out of your platform and then just give that a quick dry. You're gonna put me on the TV. Yep, you can still hear me. Yep. All right. So you can see, oh, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I think you can there. Where, you know, we got some areas of where it's a little bit darker from the aged mahogany, and, you know, I just kind of liked that mix with the using the two colors together. Just thought that kind of gave it a little bit of interest versus it just being all one color. But you can certainly just do one ink. So, yeah. Options, options, options. Always options. And I'm sorry, I just realized that cleaning off that stamp might have been like nails on a chalkboard. I apologize if that made anyone crazy. Careful drying in the misty. You do want to be careful. Yes, you do. But that said, I have done some pretty significant heat embossing in my misty with like really thick paper, and you just need to make sure you're keeping the heat gun moving and not holding it in one place for too long, because if you hold the heat gun in one place for too long and you're using either of the heat type guns, like a heat embossing gun or just the heat tool, you know, they both get really hot. So yeah, you do need to be careful for sure. For sure. All right. So now we've got this done, and so like with this card, I don't know if you guys noticed it's a shaped card, which is very different for me. I normally do just a plain standard A2 card, and this, I got these dies recently, and they're new dies for me from PhotoPlay. I've never used any of their dies before, but I just thought these were really pretty and had a cool kind of vintage style to them. And so that's what I used on this card to cut out these different layers. So so for the background here with this music note, then what I would do is die cut with this kind of inner, so that's this size here, and then I created multiple layers. So I've got the next biggest one up out of some craft cardstock, and then another, the next size up, like that's the biggest size, and it's just the finished size is just a teeny bit, well, like it's just like maybe a millimeter bigger than like an A2 size card, so it'll still fit in an A2 size envelope. And you know, so I just cut all these layers using these nested ornate dies, and then I just inked all the edges with some what did I use? Walnut stain distress ink, and then, you know, layered everything together to create the card. And then with the sentiment here, I have some. I used the Tiny Text Christmas, and I stamped, so I took a piece of some craft stock, so the cream, like the cream colored one, and just did some ink smooshing with it. This is some old paper, distress ink, and just some water, and then just kind of do some tapping in there. I'll dry that real quick. Cool. Looking at questions here. Yeah, if you all, I have a video. You were talking, going back again to the Misty and doing heat embossing in your Misty. I have a video back with the embossing glazes and doing layers of embossing glazes and then stamping into it. And I did all of it in my Misty, and yeah, I had no problems. But again, I was, you know, very careful as I was going and making sure that I kept my heat gun moving. And but I had absolutely no problem. So you know, again, you still should be careful with it, but it can be done. So just need to watch and keep things moving. Like you see me drying here, I don't stop and hold it in one spot for long at all. So Gwen was asking about distress inks. I don't have any of them. Would dye inks be interchangeable? Yes and no. Distress inks are dye inks, so they are similar, but distress inks are specially formulated to be more water reactive than this typical dye ink. So you're going to get a slightly different effect, but you could certainly, if that's all you have, then you could certainly use them for sure. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Love, love, love the distress inks. And thanks, Kay, for sharing your thoughts there on it too. So that's how I made the background for the little sentiment, and then I just stamped that using the Tiny Text stamp set, and you'd use like the archival ink. If you're not using rubber stamps, because rubber stamps are going to stain no matter what, and I don't really care. But I will say when it comes to stamping like with clear stamps, then I've been finding that I really like the VersaFine Clair ink, because it's a pigment ink, but it won't stain your stamps like the archival ink will, and except for red. But red just as a whole, red just tends to be more staining than any other color. So that's just the nature of the beast there. But these are just also new to me from PhotoPlay, and they're some really, I thought, really nice sentiment stamps to put like on the inside of my cards. So I got two different sets, and one has like more religious type sayings on it, and the other one's just regular holiday sentiments. This holiday sentiments 2 and religious sentiments, and maybe they have another holiday sentiments 1. I didn't see that one when I was looking for or found these, but when I stamp with these, I'll use the VersaFine Clair so that I don't stain them, because I don't know, I think we all feel the same way when we stain our clear stamps. We don't like them. So, but it's gonna happen to you sometimes, so they're meant to be used. So okay, let's try to think. Oh, I know, the last thing I was going to share, is anyone interested in how to create a card base that's shaped like this? So instead of putting this on like a standard, you know, rectangle card base like that, would you be interested in me showing you how to die cut the shape? Okay, got a couple people. All right. If there's anyone interested, there's probably more. So, all right. Well, let me show you that real quick. It's not complicated at all. It's actually pretty easy. So let me just get a second here to get my die cut machine. And all right, so before we die cut though, so this is the biggest die that's in that set, and so you can cut this a couple different ways. You can cut it so that you have a card that opens like from the top, like a kind of traditional card. Well, not really. This isn't traditional. If it's this way, that's a little different. Or you can have more of a traditional card that opens like that. So depending on which way you want to score your paper, and cut your paper. So what I'm going to be doing is creating one here that opens up like this. So I've taken a piece of cardstock that's 8.5 by 11, and I've cut it down to 5 by 11, and then I'm just going to score this at 5.5 inches. And then what you're going to do is take that die, and you want to get some kind of temporary adhesive tape, like the mint tape or washi tape, and then you're just going to line up so that part of the die is overhanging that fold that we created, and then you're going to use the tape to help hold it in place. So if you cut a piece of paper to create one that's going to open up this way, you're going to have it overhanging that way, and then to create one like this, you know, you would have a taller piece of paper, but then you could overhang the die on that side and run it through your die cutting machine. So a couple options there. And you know, you can kind of play around with, you know, how much you want overhanging. I like to have a decent amount so that my card kind of has some good support. Yeah. And then I'll run this through the die cutting machine. if you can put it at a little bit of an angle, that's great. And you just want to make sure you get your plates in order that you need. And I'm working with like really thick, like 110 pound. This is the 110 pound Nina cardstock. So it's pretty thick. And I find that I usually have to run it through quite a few times to get it to cut through all the layers. Almost there. And I usually find that if I flip it around and just kind of go at a different angle with it, that will kind of help too. I'm not real big on adding shims, but probably one more like thickness of cardstock would, there we go. So, and we got it. Would probably make it a little bit faster, but like I said, I'm not a huge fan of shims in my die cut machine because I just feel like you're just asking to stretch the rollers out when you start shimming. So really try not to do that. And when you run it through that many times, the mint tape will stick to the paper a little bit, just part of the deal there. That pressure over and over, the adhesive will stick, but I've not had it tear my paper, but I'm also trying to be kind of careful with removing it. And then if you get a little spot there that didn't cut through, you can use your scissors, and then you've got your card. And then all you have to do is just put some adhesive on the back here and adhere that. Now you'll have that little overhang here. To me, that doesn't bother me any. But then yeah, you've got your card, and you can add your sentiment, and you're ready to go. So yeah, very nice. So anybody have any questions or anything? So let's pull these back in. I'm gonna have to say, after experimenting with both of these, I like the Snowfall grit paste better than the opaque. What do you guys think? Any preferences on one or the other? Let me lay this on. Put this on there so you can kind of get a feel for how it would look. But so there's the white snow, and there's the sparkles on there. I'm not sure it's picking up in the camera, but it's there. And then this is the original one I made with so they're both pretty. The snow, yeah, like the white one, it pops a little bit more, but I will say, like, the green is coming through, and I don't know that I like that so much, but yeah, it looks more white on the camera than it does in real life. In person, it's definitely tinted green. You can maybe see it better if I hold it on something white. So anyway, options though, options. Yeah, and I don't know. I think I'm gonna get on a mission, Kathy, to figure out what I can do to seal my inked backgrounds and stuff for when I put paste on there. Just curious if I can figure out a way. Because I was doing the spray on the trees, Tim's trees, the bottle brush trees, and yeah, I was really struggling doing the snow on them this year too. So, and I tried all kinds of different ways, and yeah, I don't know. Some colors were like bleeding worse than others, and I don't know. And I tried all different techniques, but yeah, I think I prefer the original. Me too, Teresa. Or Therese, maybe. No A on the end. Therese. So better. So, see, options. that again, one of those things. If you, so make a note of this, and you know, if you prefer one or the other, and you have those products, or you don't have those products, you know what you would want to get, or what you would want to use to create something similar, for sure. Yeah, the collage medium again, Martha. That's my pastes are flaking off right now. It's all over my desk. Paste not sticking. It depends on. I've had that happen to me before. Depending on what kind of paste you use, some pastes don't adhere super great to paper for some reasons, like the crackle paint paste doesn't want to stick, and I usually do put collage medium underneath that one. But yeah, the collage medium will definitely react with the distress inks, so it will change whatever your inked background looks like if you put it on there and then die cut that. But yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I've not really found it. Crackle paste, Kathy, that's falling off. Yes, crackle paste does. It's a little bit tricky to work with. I have found though, if you put collage medium under the crackle paste, like put the collage medium on, let it dry, and then put on the crackle paste, it sometimes will stick a little bit better. But yeah, the crackle paste is it's a tricky one sometimes, for sure. Martha, you're changing your mind. I love it. Yeah, I think it just depends. I think I like this one best, but I still will use this for sure. Looking at the comments here, Miss Wills, would you need to use Fix It to hold everything on? I don't know what Fix It is. I'm not familiar with that, so I can't answer that question. Sorry. Yeah, thanks, Darlene. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I completely came up with that idea on my own. I think I've probably seen other people do something similar with these tree slices, but yeah, that was they're a die that I have had and haven't used very much, and wanted to give it a play. So here we are. What adhesive did I use, Gwen? Are you referring to, like with the assembly, or give me a little more specific to what you're asking there? Thank you, guys. It is a spray to hold glitter. Okay. I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to look into Fix It and see what it is. Yeah, usually for me, if I want to make sure glitter stays, I use glossy accents. But then, that said, I'm not... Once it dries on here and whatever, like when you use this glitter duster with the paste, and once it's completely dry, you'll have a little bit come off, but then once that all is off, that hasn't stuck, I don't end up with like glitter everywhere. So yeah. All right. Okay, Gwen, you were asking to adhere the card parts. So as far as like the paper layers, I've been using Distress Collage Medium. That's usually my preferred adhesive, liquid adhesive. And then as far as like adhering all these little die cut pieces, I used some collage medium, and then I also used a combination of I think just these foam squares and strips, These are all from scrapbook.com, and they come in different thicknesses, so, and then different sizes. They have circles and squares. I prefer the squares because the circles, I feel like you're kind of wasting a bunch of the paper, and these are easier to get off, in my opinion, than the circle ones. And they've got strips. They've got rolls that you can cut, you know, if you want to cut it down to whatever size you want. They've got inch sizes and ½ inch and quarter-inch rolls, and yeah, so this is my preference, and I usually try to use the 1mm foam pieces. So yeah, if you're wanting to, you know, if you're gonna mail this, like this is pretty thick to mail. You're gonna have to definitely pay extra postage, but you know, it's maybe save this kind of a card, like I said, for somebody that's special that maybe would be even hand delivering it to them. So yeah. All right. Hi, Danielle. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Yeah. I love foam squares, and I love that scrapbook.com has all the different sizes too, and the thicknesses. Do I have collage medium in my Spellbinders detailed glue bottle? Yes. No, not Spellbinders. I don't have Spellbinders. Getting me confused. I have, if you're talking about this, maybe you've seen me use this. This is my Sweet Petunias glue press. And the adhesive bottles are the Nuvo liquid. And I just emptied out the adhesive that it came with. I used it all, and then since then I've refilled the bottle with the Distress Collage Medium. And yes, I keep a pin in mine. I know it's sold and like, oh, you don't need a pin. I can never get it back. Like, I can't get it to stay in the little holder that it comes with. In like the exact perfect spot it needs to not get clogged. So I just keep a pin in there all the time, and then I have it if I need it, and if I don't, then I don't, but it's there if I need it. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, well, thank you guys. Let's pop back over here to my face. So I appreciate you guys joining me today. This is always fun. I love all the questions and the interaction and problem solving you guys did with me today, and helping each other out with questions as well. I really appreciate that for sure. So yeah, well, we have been here for an hour and almost 15 minutes. So I am going to let you go so that you can get on with the rest of your day. I don't have any plans to do any more lives, just with the holidays coming up and all that. We're all going to be so busy. But if something changes, you will be the first to know, because I'll send it out in my newsletter. So, yeah, but I hope, if I don't talk to you guys until then, I hope you guys have a great holiday. And yeah, keep in touch. If you have any questions, reach out. And Tina, best lunch break ever. Love it. That's awesome. So yeah, so I will for sure see you guys in 2025. There's lots of new goodies and fun stuff coming. I don't know what all of it is yet, but some of it I do. So can't wait to share those things with you. And then, like I said, I'll have my class coming out as well. So yeah, already looking forward to the new year. So, all right, guys. Well, happy holidays, and I will see you soon. Bye.